أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It is the Shahadat of Imam Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, our 7th Imam, born on Sunday on the 7th of Safar 128 after Hijrah, and he was martyred on the 25th of Rajab 183 after Hijrah in the prisons of Harun al-Rashid Abbasi in Baghdad, and at the age of 55 he was poisoned, and that also upon the instructions and commands of Harun La'natullahi alayh. His knowledge was tough on the Abbasi rulers, like the ilm of all other Imams. The reason why they revolted and stood against the Imams was their knowledge, was their justice, was their God-wariness, was their piety, which made the rulers revolt and stand against the Imams. The Imams, their motto, their aim was to educate people so that their intellect, their ability to understand increases. On the contrary, the motto and the aim of the rulers then and even today was that people should be kept in the dark. They should not know the realities, the facts, the haqa'iq. So the knowledge of the Imam was tough on the Abbasi rulers, and as a result, his friends, the followers of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam, were under severe surveillance and under severe pressure and torture. To avoid them being hurt, Imam, he instructed them all to go on the offline mode. And to one of his students, Imam, he instructs him to stay quiet and to avoid any danger. Now, no one was a match to the knowledge of the Imam. Now, we believe the ilm that Imams have, it is ilm ladunni, given and bestowed to them by the Almighty Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Imams are the most knowledgeable people of every time, like the prophets as well are the most knowledgeable of their time. Now, Imam alayhi salatu wassalam also was living in such severe circumstances, and he was an opposition to the rule and had instructed not to take the complaints to their people taking their complaints to the judiciary system of that time of the Abbasi rulers, and by appointing an ad hoc judge, he solved the quarrels and disputes that Mu'mineen they had. Now, regarding the Ghasib, the rulers of his time, one Imam says that one who likes them to remain in the rule will enter the fire. And he raised his voice, his disgust, his hate to the oppressive rule of Harun, and he forbade any association people having with him and the system of Harun La'natullahi alayh. Now, to this rule or the command of the Imam alayhi salam, there was an exception, and the exception is Ali ibn Yaqteen. Ali ibn Yaqteen is instructed to accept being a minister during the rule of Mahdi Abbasi. Now, when he wanted to resign, Ali ibn Yaqteen wanted to resign, Imam did not allow him. Imam says, do not resign, because by your presence in the rule of Mahdi Abbasi, people, they are at ease, people, they come to you to get their problems solved. You can help them, those who are needy, and by your presence, your enemies will be ruined. And then Imam says to him, O Ali, know that your atonement and kafara is doing good to the brethren there. And you guarantee one thing to me, and I will guarantee three things for you. And then says, you guarantee that you will sort out the tasks and affairs, the problems that our Shias, Mu'mineen, they are having with dignity and with respect. And I also will guarantee that I guarantee three things for you. One, never a prison to shelter you, and a sword would never hurt you. And three, poverty, it would never afflict you. You will never be poor. You will always be sound until you die. Ali, he, one who makes a mu'min, to him Imam says that one who makes a mu'min happy has pleased Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala first, and then his apostle, and then us, the Ahlul Bayt, the Imams alayhimus salam. So Ali ibn Yaqteen was an exception to this rule and this command of the Imam to not associate with the rule of the Abbasis. Now, it was a difficult era for the Mu'mineen and the Imam. Informers of Harun, Yahya, Barmaki, and their tactic was to separate the Imam from the Shias. Now, people, they were sending funds to the Imam. Now, wealth in abundance from all corners of the world was being sent to the Imam. And now these informers, they used to say that there are banks that are being created by the Imam, and with all these funds that are being poured towards him, he wants to topple your rule. Now with this tactic, they got Imam arrested and he was imprisoned for 14 years. Imam was tortured, Imam was chained, and ultimately poisoned. He died 3 days after being poisoned. The most knowledgeable, the purest, the best worshipper, the most generous of the time. And then Imam, like all other Imams, he also wept in fear, in prayers, that his beard, it's soaked in his tears. And by this beautiful recitation of Quran, people were so much moved that he was titled as Sabir, Salih, Amin, Kadhim, were all the different titles of the Imam alayhi salam. One of the other names that was addressed to him was Abdus Salih, that is the sincere, the pious servant, Abdus Salih. Now, from the progeny of Umar, a person bugged the Imam. Imam's followers wanted to get rid of him. Imam did not allow. Now this is the karamat and the beautiful akhlaq and attitude of the Imam alayhi salam, that Imam inquired about him. He was told that he is in his fields outside Medina. Imam went riding his donkey and he said, stop, don't come further, it's my fields and you're going to ruin my fields, my land. Imam continued until he came to him. Imam, he comes to him, speaks to him, very friendly talk, and then Imam asks that how much have you spent on this land? He says 100 dinars. And how much return do you expect? He says 200 dinars. And then Imam gave him 300 dinars. And then says that the crops also can be yours and I'll take this land. And the harvest also will be at your disposal, can be yours. He stood and kissed the Imam's head. The next day he comes to the mosque. And people who saw him yesterday bugging the Imam or hurting the Imam, they also were present. And now today he stands in the middle of the people and starts reciting this ayah, Allah ya'lam haythu yaj'al risalatah, that Allah knows where to send His mission and His risalat. This is how He guided people, attracted people with His beautiful traits and with His beautiful akhlaq. Imam has said that my father, from his forefathers, reports from Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam, that the Almighty Allah has said that if a servant has hope in any one of my servants, all the doors of the skies will close for him, and the earth below his feet also will empty. So that is that height of hope and tawakkul a person has to have in the Almighty Allah in all walks of life, being educated by the Imam, and likewise it is that same education of all the prophets, that hope has to be only and only in the Almighty Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Imam alayhi salam, he has 37 children. The oldest of them is our 8th Imam, Rida alayhi salatu wassalam. And looking into the seerah of the Imam and the sayings that he has, one of them says that Ma ba'ath Allah anbiya'ahu wa rusulahu ila ibadihi illa liya'qilu anillah. He says that Allah, He did not appoint the prophets and the messengers for His creation, for His people, but that they, for the purpose of insight and understanding, so that people, they ponder into the existence of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, they increase their level of understanding, their awareness. And then says, فَأَحْسَنُهُمْ إِسْتِجَابَةً أَحْسَنُهُمْ مَعْرِفَةً لِلَّهِ. From among these people, the best as though is he who accepts this message and then he increases his level of understanding, his pondering, his ma'rifah, his awareness. وَأَعْلَمُهُمْ بِأَمْرِ اللَّهِ أَحْسَنُهُمْ عَقْلًا وَأَقَلُهُمْ أَرْفَعُهُمْ دَرَجَةً فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. And the most knowledgeable among them is the one who is most knowledgeable with the commands of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And the most aqil among them, or the one who has the highest of intellect, is the one who has elevated his aql, his understanding, his pondering, his awareness in ranks in this world and in the hereafter. So see, throughout the teachings of the Ma'asumeen alayhimus salam, we find this emphasis that one has to increase his level of understanding, his ma'rifah, his pondering, his awareness, with this excuse that this is what we were told by our parents when we were young, and now this is what we are following, is not enough, because that is Inna wajadna aba'ana ala ummatin wa inna ala atharihim muhtadun. That is a negative concept that Quran also rebukes and says that one shouldn't be like that, saying that my ancestors were such and we are following whatever they did. No, we have to follow haqq, we have to follow what is right, and that has to constantly keep upgrading in our system. Now, the open and the hidden, the evident argument is the Imam says that Inna lillahi ala nas hujjatain, that Allah the Almighty, for the mankind, He has created 2 arguments, 2 hujjah. Now hujjatan zahiratan wa hujjatan batina. There is an argument, there is an evidence that is evident, that is before you. And there is another one that is hidden. Then says, فَأَمَّا الظَّاهِرَ فَالرُّسُلُ. That is that what you see as the argument which is evident are the prophets, are the anbiya, are the imams. وَأَمَّا الْبَاطِنَ فَالْعُقُولُ. And there is an argument, a hujjah, which is within yourself or which is hidden, and that is the aql, the intellect, the understanding, the awareness that you have. Now, one of the other beautiful ahadith of the Imam, now the instructions given to Ali ibn Yaqteen were that he remains in the rule of the Abbasis to serve the mu'mineen. with honor and with dignity and respect. Imam says, Man zara akhahul mu'min, one who visits his fellow believing brother, mu'min, and for the sake of God he visits him, nothing else. I just felt like I want to visit a fellow mu'min, not for any need and requirement that I have, just to see him, just to visit him, for the sake of God. لِيَطْلُبَ بِهِ ثَوَابَ اللَّهِ, to get rewarded from the Almighty Allah. And then وَتَنَجُّزَ مَا وَعَدَهُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Now his aim and intention is to visit that fellow mu'min for the sake of God, to be rewarded, and for the rewards that the Almighty Allah has placed in visiting fellow mu'minin. Says that وَكَّلَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ بِهِ سَبْعِينَ أَلْفَ مَلَكٍ. Allah appoints and escorts him with 70,000 angels from the point he exits, he comes out from his home until he returns. That is, من حين يخرج من منزله حتى يعود إليه ينادونه. Now these angels, now the slogan is they are chanting, 70,000 of them escorting him from the moment he leaves his home and until he returns. ألا طبت وطابت لك الجنة. That is, glad tidings to you that heaven has been availed for you, and تبوأت من الجنة منزلا, and you've been given a designation, a spot in the heaven, only for that one visit of yours to a fellow mu'min, and for the sake of God, not for any other reason or any other desire. Now, protecting the honor of a mu'min, again Imam says, Man kaffa nafsahu an i'rad al-nas aqalahu Allah عثرته يوم القيامة ومن كف غضبه عن الناس كف الله عنه غضبه يوم القيامة. One who refrains from defaming the mankind, the Almighty Allah will forgive his shortcomings, and one who controls his rage from the mankind, the Almighty, He will keep him away from his rage. Now, so much of emphasis towards serving the mu'mineen, respecting the mu'mineen, honoring the mu'mineen, and when we look into the sayings that we have, now we have that even in Karbala, when Zainab Kubra Salamullah alayhi was in the courts of Yazid La'natullah alayhi, and then he changed his tactics and policies and wanted to give everything back to them. Comes up to Hazrat Zainab with 200,000 gold coins and says, take this as the blood money of your brother Hussein. Here she says that mu'minu a'zamu hurmatan min al-Kaaba, the honor that Allah has given to a mu'min is greater than the Kaaba, and you want me to forgive you with these, accepting these 200,000 gold coins, that I will never do that. The honor of a random mu'min that Allah has, it is more than the Kaaba. And then says, Al-mu'minu mislu kaffatay al-mizan kullama zida fi imanih zida fi bala'ih. Says mu'min, he is like the two scales of a balance. When you see that the iman of this mu'min is increasing, is elevating, is ascending, the balas, the tests and trials also, they will increase. They will also go up. So if you see that there are problems that are coming in our lives, and there are a lot more, it's nothing bad, it's nothing negative. We have to be thankful to the Almighty Allah in all these tests and trials, because tests and trials, they are a test that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is taking from us, and He doesn't burden anyone beyond their capacity. So because we have got that capacity to bear and tolerate that test and trial, that test also comes to us. Now this is what we see in the teachings of Quran and the sayings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Now, one of the ways how we can help ourselves in being successful towards these tests and trials that we have from the Almighty Allah is by reciting this last ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah. It is mustahab that you recite it every day, and it gives a lot of hope. It says, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. And this ayah, it's a conversation between Allah and Rasulullah. Now, I'll explain it slowly, and it says that آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. That the apostle has faith in what has been sent to him from his Lord. Now, the moment this ayah was revealed upon Rasulullah, quickly Rasulullah says, كُلٌّ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ. Says God, not just the prophets, the believers also, they have faith in Allah and in the angels and in the books. وَرُسُلِهِ لَا نُفَرِّقُ بَيْنَ أَحَدٍ مِّن رُسُلِهِ. And we make no distinction between any of the prophets that were sent. Every one of them, we accept all of the prophets, all of them. And then وَقَالُوا, says the believers, they say, سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا, we heard and we were obedient. غُفْرَانَكَ رَبَّنَا وَإِلَيْكَ الْمَصِيرُ. God, your forgiveness, forgive us, and towards you is our return. Now then the Almighty Allah, He says, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Allah, He does not task or does not burden any soul beyond his capacity. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَعَلَيْهَا مَا اكْتَسَبَتْ. Whatever good it earns is to its benefit, and whatever bad also, whatever evil also he does, also incurs him, it's to its harm. And then says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. That our Lord, take us not to task if we forget and if we make mistakes. And then Rasulullah, he says, أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا رَبَّنَا لَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِسْرًا. That God, do not place upon us a burden that you have placed on those nations before us. That is, كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا رَبَّنَا لَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. That what I do not have the capacity to bear, God, don't burden me with that. وَاعْفُ عَنَّا وَاغْفِرْ لَنَا وَارْحَمْنَا. Forgive us, have mercy upon us. أَنْتَ مَوْلَانَا فَانْصُرْنَا عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. You are our master, so help us against the faithless lot. It's a beautiful ayah. Recite that every night. Now for this beautiful ayah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he says that it was revealed from the treasures of the heaven, and it was written by the Almighty before the creation was given existence. Now the barakat of reciting these last two glorious ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, that is, says that it enlightens the house. Now one of the ashab of Rasulullah, the companions, they come to him and they say that we were passing by the house of one of the other ashab, and we saw that it was luminant, it was glowing with light. Why was that, Ya Rasulullah? There Rasulullah says that he was reciting Surah Al-Baqarah. The next day when they were passing by, it was night and the house was glowing. They come and knock at the door of his house and they say that, what were you doing and what were you reciting now? He says, I was reciting these last two ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah. Now these two ayat, they enlighten the house, and recitation of these ayat at night brings the reward of being occupied the entire night in worship, and if one recites it during the day, it is like reciting, like occupying the entire day in worship. And reciting the ayat, it ascertains, grant your hajat, they will be granted, and hajat of this world and the hereafter. And recitation of these ayat, it assures protection from magicians, spellcasters, etc. So people, if they are worried that they have been spells of magic on them, etc., so recite these ayat, and this is the best of repellers of all these magics, etc. Now the Prophet, he further states in this hadith that reciting these ayat, there's a way to do it, and that is recite the first 6 ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, first 4 ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, then Ayatul Kursi, and then the last 3 ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah. This will be a protection for your wealth, and it will safeguard you from, protect you from every harm, and that no one will do you any harm, and shaitan also, he will not draw closer to you. So first 4 ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, that Alif Lam Mim ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ أَنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Now once you've done that, then you recite the last 3 ayat, starting from لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُم بِهِ اللَّهُ فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, and then آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ until the end. So recite these ayat, add them into your daily program. It's the best of protections from every evil, from every bala, and at the same time it gives us a lot of hope that in these tests and trials we can handle them, we can manage them. Imam Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, he was placed in a prison. Now this prison is 7 levels below underground, below the ground level. Now those of you who've been to Baghdad, and the prisons, they are open, you can see them, that how deep down in the earth Imam was kept. No light, and it was all damp, and Imam was in sajda most of the time, and the zikr that Imam used to recite was La ilaha illallahu haqqan haqqa, La ilaha illallahu imanan wa taslima, until the end. Now, to defame the Imam, these rulers, they did everything. A prostitute was sent to hurt the Imam. Now when the warden, he comes to check on the Imam just to see that what's happening down there, he sees that this woman who was sent there to defame the Imam is in the state of sajda, and she is also pleading, saying that God forgive me, I did not know why I was sent here, and to the Imam alayhi salam. The ziyarat that we have for the Imam alayhi salam, also it says Assalamu ala halif as-sajdat al-tawila wad-dumu'a al-azira wal-munajat al-kathira, Assalamu ala al-mudtahidi bil-zulami wal-maqbur bil-jawr wal-mu'azzab fi qa'r al-sujun. Now it says that Imam oppressed and sufferings that he was going through, all unfair sufferings, and then buried in the bottom of prisons. Now the term used over here says that this saqil marduz. This saqil marduz means a traumatized leg due to the chains. Now you've seen that when there is the flesh on the bones, and all those heavy chains on the pure body of the Imam were such that they had scraped the flesh, and the bone of the Imam was evident, just like when you see a grain of rice, and when the skin of that rice is husked and removed, you see the white rice which is in the grain, or in the shell. So Imam's bones were evident due to those heavy chains that were on the body of the pure Imam. وَالظُّلَمِ الْمَطَامِيرِ ذِي السَّاقِ الْمَرْذُوذِ بِحَلَقِ الْقُيُودِ وَالْجَنَازَةِ الْمُنَادَى عَلَيْهَا بِذُلِّ الْإِسْتِخْفَافِ. And then Imam's body also, after he was killed, was placed on the bridge of Baghdad for 3 days. And this is how Imam was disrespected by the rulers of his time. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إلهي بحق الزهرة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها، يا الله 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 يا الله. اللهم أحينا حياة محمد وآل محمد وأمتنا ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم ارزقنا في الدنيا زيارة محمد وآل محمد وفي الآخرة شفاعة محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.